Hi, comrades. How are we doing today? I am doing this live stream because I wanted to be talking about the climate crisis and ways we can be handling it and what we, the average human, can be doing to fight this climate crisis. So right now, I am on Twitter and I was going through the morning news and I saw an article that says climate change is making the Earth lose its shine. According to the study, the Earth's reflectance has decreased as a result of warming ocean waters. Our home planet now reflects almost half a watt less light per square meter than it did 20 years ago. So now this is climate changes. I mean, it's affecting literally everything, but this is just another example of how it's affecting our the Earth's shine, which would affect like how much solar energy we're able to produce, green energy we're able to produce. So there's disastrous consequences right now that are happening right now. And then two other things happened recently that really got me very concerned about the current climate crisis. And that was let me pull up the article. Okay, well, first it was Biden saying the IPCC climate report was not sufficient enough evidence to stop the coastal drilling in the Gulf of Mexico, which is drilling for oil. And we already know of the disastrous consequences of drilling for oil. And yet here we are, we're still doing that. And okay, great. I got someone joined in. And that was like a huge red flag to me because what is deemed sufficient enough evidence then? Because if you didn't see, let me pull up the IPCC climate report 2021. Let's see here. Chapter 3 leads with the IPCC's strongest ever statement on the human impact on the climate. It is unequivocal that human influence has warmed the global climate system since pre-industrial times. So 5 takeaways. Let's see if I can get this article. 5 takeaways from the major new UN climate report. Okay, well, that was it. And then the other thing that happened was seeing this article by the independent.co.uk saying that bats, bumblebees, and butterflies are set to go extinct within the next decade. Y'all, this decade, 10 years. How are more alarms not being signed? How is that not plastered everywhere? I don't know. But clearly, mainstream media is not taking this seriously enough. And that means it's affecting how other people are portraying this climate crisis and how they are taking it seriously. So that really sucks. And I don't know how hi, one viewer. Welcome. We're talking about the climate crisis and what we can do about it. So to recap, I just saw an article today about, let me pull it back up. News. Climate change is making the Earth lose its shine. According to the study, the Earth reflectance has decreased as a result of warming ocean waters. Our home planet now reflects almost half a watt less light per square meter than it did 20 years ago. So this is the direct results of climate change, the climate crisis that's happening right now. And now it's affecting our potential to conduct solar energy, green energy, which is one of the things that would get us out of this climate crisis right now. But because of our current state, it's so impacted right now that, solar isn't maybe our best and green new energy to be pursuing right now, if this is the case of the given climate. So that, that's one of the things that's like a big, red flag about the climate crisis. But one of the first things that started really ringing the alarm bells in my head was, let me pull it up. Biden goes forward on Gulf drilling. Let me see what that article was. Yeah, so August 31st, September 17th, between then, Biden administration to resume drilling auctions in setback to climate. So after this IPCC, the UN's climate report came out, Biden got this report and said, nope, this isn't sufficient enough evidence to stop that Gulf drilling. We are going to resume Gulf drilling. So the Biden administration is pushing for Gulf drilling. And we, that was a huge red flag to me. That was one of the things that made me think, what the fuck am I doing in grad school right now? This is a waste. I'm not going to have a planet to have this degree on. I need to be fighting right goddamn now. And then a couple weeks later, after that report came out, about like less than a week ago, the Independent Co. UK came out with an article saying that bats, bumblebees, and butterflies are set to go extinct in the next decade. And that's also on top of the fact that the US has now declared 22 species extinct. So, like, we are in the extinction crisis right now, and humanity is not far behind. And because mainstream media is not taking advantage of their platforms and broadcasting this to people, that like, this is the current situation, this is our current projections if we stay on this course, it's going to mean the extinction of humanity if we continue on this rate. So not to be all doom and gloom, but what can we go moving forward? So okay, we need to completely rethink everything, every aspect of human life right now, and go forward with a green conscious effect. When we overthrow the US government and the revolution happens, and we are coming forward with a new constitution, a Green New Deal needs to be enacted in that constitution. And what am I talking about when I say the Green New Deal? No, I am not talking about AOC's piece of shit, watered down Green New Deal. No. I'm talking about the real deal Green New Deal proposed by the Green Party. And now let me read that. Let me pull that up real quick and read it to you. Green Party, Green New Deal. Here we go. So the Green Party, first proposed this. It was the European Green Party back at like the revelation of the climate crisis, back at like the beginning of the 21st century, and then around like the financial crisis of 2008 is when they came out saying like, this is what we need, like this is a Green New Deal. So the Green New Deal will convert the old gray economy into a new sustainable economy that is environmentally sound, economically viable, and socially responsible. It seeks to resolve the climate crisis by combining quick action to get to net zero greenhouse gas emissions and 100% renewable energy by 2030, along with an economic bill of rights, the right to single-payer healthcare, a guaranteed job at a living wage, affordable housing, and free college education. So like this is the Green Party who came out first with saying this. This is what we need to combat the climate crisis. And again, like this is showing like an economic bill of rights. Like this is a new constitution, economic bill of rights, ensuring the rights to single payer healthcare, guaranteeing, we don't want a livable wage. We want a thriving wage. So negotiations start at $50 per hour, because according to Dr. Richard Wolff, minimum wage, according to the adjusted for inflation, would be around $44.16 present day. So yeah, we're going in at the negotiating table at $50 for the minimum wage. And single payer healthcare, yeah, that's a no-brainer. We should already be having that. Our healthcare system is a for-profit industry, and it's part of the reason why there's so many preventable deaths here in the United States, why death rates are so high, why we're having the opioid epidemic, the fact that we're still having the pandemic, and we've seen all these other the increasing amounts of people who have died because from COVID because of lack of health insurance. So like, single payer healthcare during a pandemic sounds like a no-brainer to me. And then affordable housing and free college education. So affordable housing, I'm gonna critique that a little bit, because in my opinion, housing is a human right, and I should not have to pay for housing. So I need to do more research on what that looks like, but like, I'm all for communes and stuff like that. So doing more co-housing communities is what I see for the big picture for the future on moving forward of how we get out of this climate crisis. Is like totally rethinking our current view on communities in America, and moving towards much more communal approach away from this individualism that we preach, and coming to more of a communal center, where we really do pride ourselves in our relationships with community members. And we really do have those community relationships, which I'm sure many of us lack right now. I know I do. I don't know my neighbors. But reinstating what a neighborhood is and what it should be, and what it can look like, in a new world that is sustainable and green. So, and then the Green New Deal, there's a little part about it on this page saying European Greens were among those calling for a Green New Deal in 2006 in response to the global financial crisis. In addition to a call for both climate action and a bill of economic rights, the approach by the European Greens sought to democratize the world financial system. In New York State, Howie Hawkins promoted a Green New Deal in his 2010 Green Party run for governor, an issue focus that subsequently was picked up by Jill Stein in her 2012 presidential campaign by many other Green Party candidates across the United States. So, that is the Green Party's Green New Deal. And here, there's another part where it says, meet the Green New Deal. The Green New Deal starts with a World War II type mobilization to address the grave threat posed by climate change, transitioning our country to 100% clean energy by 2030. So, like, doing an industrialized, revolutionary World War II type mobilization of completely reforming every industry, infrastructure, transportation, housing, everything, and making us on track to have 100% clean energy by 2030. I think that is possible if we act now with radical changes. I think that is entirely possible. But the clock is ticking on us, and there is not a moment to waste. Clean energy does not include natural gas, biomass, nuclear power, or the oxymoron clean coal. Yeah, there's no fucking such thing as clean coal. That's an oxymoron, right? Coal is dirty as fuck. The implementation of the Green New Deal will revive the economy, turn the tide on climate change, and make wars for oil obsolete. This latter result, in turn, enables a 50% cut in the military budget, since maintaining bases all over the world to safeguard fossil fuel supplies and routes of transportation could no longer be justified. So we have over, I think it's like 800 U.S. military bases throughout the world. My thought is, of course, we have to defund the military, because the U.S. military is one of the, if not the number one polluter and contributor to the climate crisis, is to reform all of those bases into affordable housing communities, into communes, really, honestly, and to make them new housing communities, and start there by expanding and getting the community to get involved, and doing two birds with one stone, maybe more, of defunding the military and making use of that space by helping others get access to it, and help the communities in needs that we have been that have been impacted by U.S. imperialism, and they're wreaking the consequences of it. So I think that reestablishing these U.S. military bases throughout the world into co-housing communities is a great option. moving forward in the revolution with the Green New Deal, with a green planet, green energy conscious focus. The military savings of several $100 billion per year would go a very long way toward creating green jobs at home. Because, like, that's the thing. Everyone's like, but what are you going to do to the coal miners, the drillers, the blah, blah, blah. Okay, there's going to be plenty of jobs available. Like, we need to make sure retraining is available. And all these jobs, we are going to establish all these new jobs. That is not a problem. Honestly, the problem I see is having enough trainers to train people in these new professions. I think we're going to see a huge demand of these jobs, and there's going to be a whole mass of people who are going to be leaving these old dirty energy jobs and moving to clean energy. And that's going to take a lot of training. And that's what I see the biggest threat being is, do we have enough people to train people to get us to do these jobs that will ensure the Green New Deal is functioning? That's the biggest problem I foresee. I do not foresee it being a problem getting those people to do the job and making these jobs available. I do not see those as being problems. Very long time. Okay. On top of that, the Green New Deal largely pays for itself in healthcare savings from the prevention of fossil fuel related diseases, including asthma, heart attacks, strokes, and cancers. I mean, that's a huge point. I'm a public health professional. And the increases we've seen in climate change related deaths has been extraordinarily increasing throughout the past few years. Again, through rates of asthma, heart attacks, strokes, and cancers. Those are all directly related to polluted air, polluted water, poor living situations, poor housing. Like, all of these things are interrelated that can be addressed and prevented with implementing a Green New Deal. Moving to 100% clean energy means many more jobs, a healthier environment, and far fewer electric costs compared to continued reliance upon fossil fuels. Studies have shown that the technology already exists to achieve 100% clean energy by 2030. That's great. And we can speed up the transition by making polluters pay for the damage they've caused, starting with a robust carbon-free program. So that's another way of, hello, new viewer. We're talking about the Green New Deal for the climate crisis. And we're talking about the real deal Green New Deal here, proposed by the Green Party, not AOC's bullshit, watered down Green New Deal. No, honey. We're talking about the real deal Green New Deal that will get us to have humanity stay alive on a sustainable planet. Yeah. Those things. Again, I'll say, moving to 100% clean energy means many more jobs, a healthier environment, and far fewer electric costs compared to continued reliance upon fossil fuels. Studies have shown that the technology already exists to achieve 100% clean energy by 2030, and we can speed up the transition by making polluters pay for the damage they've caused, starting with robust carbon-free programs. So that means having this carbon tax, essentially, on big corporations, the U.S. military, but especially targeting big corporations, the monopolies that are getting away with this, that are contributing to the climate crisis. We need to target them and hold them responsible and get some accountability for their actions and their contributions to this crisis. And they literally have to pay for it. And that comes with establishing a carbon tax system, a robust carbon fee program. So the Green New Deal is not only a major step towards ending unemployment for good, but also a tool to fight the corporate takeover of our democracy and exploitation of the poor and people of color. Our transition to 100% clean energy will be based on community worker and public ownership and democratic control of our energy system, rather than maximizing profits for energy corporations, banks, and hedge funds. That's exactly what it is under capitalism right now. It's capitalism is profits over people. And that's exactly what this is right now, with fossil fuels in charge, in charge of the energy corporations. They are profiting from us and charging us. We're paying the costs for it. They're benefiting from us. But both the working people and the planet are suffering from that. So again, we need to hold them accountable. Again, this proves I do not see having jobs available as a foreseeable problem. I think we are going to have very much a need for these green new jobs, and I think we can very much make the transition from dirty jobs, dirty energy jobs, into clean green energy jobs. So we can make that transition. We just need to mandate it and reinforce the infrastructure available to make that possible. So we need to treat clean energy as a human right and a common good. We also need a just transition to provide resources to the low-income communities and communities of color most impacted by climate change. The Green New Deal will provide assistance to workers in local communities that now have workers employed in the fossil fuel industry into the developing world as it responds to the climate change damage caused by the industrial world. So there you go. Providing assistance to workers in local communities that now have workers employed in the fossil fuel industries to transition them from dirty energy jobs to clean new energy jobs. And then helping work in the developing worlds. Like, we have U.S. bases, military bases in the developing world. Like, let's start there and reforming them and remodeling them into co-housing communities that can be used by the populations that we've completely directly impacted by our imperialism. When it's not just imperialism. The U.S. is based on white supremacy based capitalism and imperialism of the patriarchy. Should add that in there. We need to completely dismantle that whole concept in order to get this Green New Deal. This is why I'm all for the revolution, because there's absolutely no reforming the current system that we have. We need a complete dismantle and reformation of our, I don't know, I guess it's not a reformation then, a complete dismantling and reconstruction of what America is to be, what it should be. So that's not going to happen without the revolution. So that's what I'm ready for. And I actually kind of had like a little a vision, I guess, today about what that looks like. So the general strike is coming up on October 15th. And I think we're galvanizing a lot of support. And we just had like the Women's March in DC all over the country. And we had great turnout for that. We need a turnout like that now. Armed protesters marching to the nation's capital saying, "We the people are taking over. Your services are no longer needed. You have failed us. Move aside." And that is what I see as getting this revolution to happen, is people taking to the streets, marching on our nation's capital, marching to the White House, marching to Congress, and saying, "Y'all have failed us. You're dismissed. People are taking over. The people are back in power." And establishing a new constitution based on Green New Deal principles and ensuring an economic bill of rights. And then having the people through direct democracy vote on this and if it should pass. Because I think that's what we should move towards, a direct democracy, a true democracy, which other developed countries are already doing. I think it's not Sweden. I think it's a Scandinavian country that's already doing it. I want to say Denmark, maybe. But they have a direct democracy, and that's how they vote on legislation. They bring it to the people directly, and the people vote on the legislation. So, just going through my Twitter. Sorry. Let's see. Oh, someone was interested about my stream. YouTube and Twitch. All right. Well, my one viewer, would you like to comment on anything specific you'd like me to talk about? I'm happy to talk about anything climate related, anything you want. Otherwise, I was probably going to keep talking about the climate crisis, but please comment anything you'd like me to talk about. Happy to talk about anything you'd like to hear. Okay, I did that. Okay. Because yeah, I kind of talked about what I see for the Green New Deal, how I see that going forward. And yeah, I think it's time for the revolution to get that done. So I think what that means is picking a date that drop your Twitch. I'll give you a follow. Oh, cool. Drop my Twitch. I'll give you a follow. What is my Twitch? Is it at Liv Romano? Let me check. What is mine? Liv_Romano. It is. It is. Liv_Romano. I might have someone join. Okay. So the climate crisis. Our leaders are not taking it seriously. That is absolutely sure, and it is for the people now to take charge. So yeah, I see this happening as an organized armed march on the nation's capital, to the White House and the in Congress, with a proclamation saying, like, y'all have failed. This is no longer how business is going to be conducted in the U.S. government. Move along. And then I don't know how that's going to work out, though, but then hopefully we'd be able to move along in and get inside and start making our contributions towards creating a new constitution and making our demands, and then bringing it to the people to be voted on. But when I really think about it, I'm thinking that, yeah, there's a good possibility that means that it's going to be a bloodbath, and that scares a lot of fucking people. But people are already dying. Hello, one follower. Hello. I'm talking about igniting this motherfucking revolution right now to get us some justice on how to get this revolution going and address the climate crisis through a new constitution that is totally green focused. And I don't know. So my thought, I had a vision today about an organized armed protest marching on the nation's capital to the White House and to Congress, directly confronting them and saying, y'all have failed us. Y'all are no longer needed. Y'all are dismissed, and the people are here to take charge. People's power, y'all have failed us. Like, make that clear. And again, like, it's at that point, like, the ball is in their court. Like, y'all can either step aside with this mass amount of armed people that we have and allow us in, like y'all did on January 6th, or it's going to be a bloodbath. I don't know what I don't know. I see it either being a peaceful transition of power or a total bloodbath. I don't see any other in between. I see it very much being one or the other. And that scares a lot of people. Sorry, let me just sip my coffee real quick. A lot of people aren't ready for that. But I think for a little while I wasn't ready for that. But after I had this vision this morning, I was just like, you know what? Like, we're all gonna die, right? Let's be real. And right now, at the pace we're going, I already know our current trajectory of humanity, given the current scientific projections of the climate crisis. So I know what's in store for my future. if we keep going on this path and we don't take this action to ignite a revolution and get this radical systemic change that we need. I'm going to die one way or the other. And I'm not going to go down without a fight. And that's where I'm at now. And I'm ready to march armed and give my life for this revolution, because I am absolutely not going to accept my fate, humanity's fate, of extinction. I'm not going down without a fight. I will not accept that. So, yeah, I think that's what's been missing: an armed, organized protest. Fuck, maybe it is a coup d'etat. I don't know. But it's a government takeover for sure. And we're gonna get. We need to get these demands met, because right now, I mean, my one viewer, please let me know if you see any other recourse that we can take right now on how to get the demands, how to get the radical systemic change we need to survive, for humanity to survive, to have a sustainable planet. Like, y'all have other options. I'm all open ears, but right now, all I see is a revolution, a government takeover, and recreating a constitution with a totally green new focus, completely addressing the climate crisis, and doing this the right way, doing this what we know needs to be done in order to ensure our survival, our planet's survival. Like, I don't know why that isn't making more mainstream media right now. I obviously, it must just be because, corporate interests, corporations control the mainstream media, and they don't want that getting out. Because they know it means it's bad for business for them, because they're, probably heavily invested in the fossil fuel industry. I'm sure the fossil fuel industry is heavily invested in mainstream media. And they cannot risk the enormous wealth they're coming in right now. And I'm pretty convinced they've got the game plan of going to establish life on a new planet somewhere else and extracting all the resources out of that planet. So, like, it's us against them. And we don't act now, like, we already know our planet, we're facing extinction. Like, we're on track for extinction. Like, there's no other light way to put it. We are not able, humans are not able to survive on the planet in its current conditions and its current trajectory. There's no sugarcoating that. This is the end if we do not act now. So yeah, I kind of came full circle this morning. I was like, I am down to die for this revolution. Like, I'm down, because I don't see anything else. I don't see any other way of getting, I don't know. I think it was something that finally got me to be, like, at peace with really getting more involved with this, with the protesting, because, like, last year, the Black Lives Matter protesting that were happening, the police brutality that came out in opposition of these protests terrified me, and I feel like a coward. I feel like I was weak. And I feel like they got exactly what they wanted, because they wanted people to be terrorized, and I was. And I feel like I gave in and gave them what they wanted. But I will no longer submit to that terror. I will no longer let them have that fear and that power over me. I'm done with that. I'm here for the revolution. I'm giving my life to the revolution. That's it. That gives me peace. I'm not going down without a fight, whatever that means. So, yeah, I see that as figuring out amongst comrades, organizing a armed mass protest for a takeover. And I'm not sure how that's gonna go, but I think that's where we're at right now. I think that's our best case scenario. Well, my one viewer, thoughts? Anything you'd like me to answer? Or I might close this stream now and go eat some food, eat some breakfast. Any thoughts? Are you ready for an armed revolution? Is that where you're at? Let's see. I got some people on Twitter. Well, yeah, you ready? I love it. You ready for the armed revolution? Is that? Yeah, I think it is the armed revolution. I'm so fed up with this world, right? Like, how can you not be like, open your eyes, look around you, like. It's like I think of like what radicalized you, and I'm like that. Like what? Like look at everything. Like what hasn't radicalized me at this point? Like oh, it's so frustrating. And hello, new viewer. We're talking about the revolution and getting it started because we want to seize the means of production and save this world. I really think like it has to be. It really is the propaganda that mainstream media is projecting because because the mainstream media is not promoting the urgency of the climate crisis, people don't know about it because so many people, boomers and older, do not take the initiative to fact check and do their own research on their own super mobile device. And they really just buy into whatever is being fed for them. Yep, shit libs, especially white shit libs, are responsible for the holdback in the revolution. Because like I feel like African Americans, people of color, all LGBTQIA, indigenous people, like y'all are ready for the revolution. White shit libs are fucking terrified because they feel like that means they're gonna lose everything because they don't see losing their white privilege as like they are literally losing something, as liberation means they are losing their privilege and passing it off to others, when liberation truly means when all of us cannot be free if one of us is receiving the ultimate privilege. And so we need to liberate all of us. And that means dismantling white supremacy, which a lot of people have a hard time talking about in this country. Again, white shit libs, especially boomers, older white shit libs. They have a hard time taking in this concept of white privilege and the innate white supremacy that is encrypted into our system of America. That's really hard for a lot of people to swallow. That's a pill that's hard for a lot of people to swallow. To think like what that, because okay, let me see. So like when I have this conversation with my dad, who is 50, let's see, what did you do? We held a protest here in Ireland. You're in Ireland, damn straight. Y'all know what the revolution is about. I'm watching a Netflix series about the Irish Rebellion right now called Rebellion. Please tell me more about this because y'all know a thing or two about how to like start some shit. But you held a protest against the Texas abortion laws. Y'all got, that's international solidarity. Thank you. Oh my God. I went to a rally for abortion justice yesterday. This kind of ties into our point. I went to a rally for abortion justice yesterday in Annapolis, Maryland, and met a shit lib head on in real time, in real person, and asked them, I was doing a live stream on Twitch and I was like, hey, do you mind if I'm doing a live stream. Do you mind if I ask you a few questions? She was like, oh, sure. Go ahead. I have nothing to hide, whatever. And thank you. Tag me on Twitter. Yes, that's awesome. Let me send that out. And I was asking like, what brought you here today? And she said, I've been my outrage. And I was like, what are you outraged about? She said, I've been outraged for 5 years. And I said, very cool. Like, I'm outraged too. Like, what are you outraged about? What happened 5 years ago? And she said, Trump got elected. And I was like, I see. That radicalized me too. That was big. So what you think it's just Trump? Like, what can we do? And she said, this is where I kind of lose track, but I said something about like, what can we do? And her response was like, vote for Democrats. And I was like, so you don't think the Democrats are just as corrupted as the GOP? And she was like, oh, no. Like that's conspiracy theories. And I was like, oh, really? Like, but what about the Democrats rigging the elections with Bernie and stuff like that? She's like, no. Conspiracy theories. And I'm like, okay, I didn't know facts were conspiracy theories, but okay. And then she was getting really defensive and calling me manipulative, telling me to shut up. So that's when I started, and I was like, all right, I guess I'm going to end this conversation. But what I got from her, she said mainstream media. I said, like, what do you think about mainstream media's role in this? And she said, well, like Fox News is like a talking point for the GOP. And I was like, and you don't think any other mainstream media outlet is promoting the Democrats? She's like, oh, no, that sounds like conspiracy theories. And I was like, all right. You don't seem to know much about who's funding them, but okay. And she was like, oh, I really do like MSNBC. And I was like, okay. And I was like, so you don't think they're at all controlled by the establishment? And she was like, what do you mean the establishment? I was like, you don't think the Democrats are a part of the establishment? And that was really where our conversation ended. So like my question, my one viewer, like, how do we better like when you're talking to people, when you bring up these facts and they cite them as conspiracy theories, what do you do? How do you respond when you are trying to talk rationally to an irrational person? How do you do that? That is really hard by someone who's ultimately brainwashed by US mainstream media propaganda. How do you pick that apart? How do you unbrainwash that? I am still trying to figure it out. That is the big $1 million question for me, is how do we rebuild that knowledge? I try to educate them, but if you don't want to listen, I just wish them a good day, TBH. Yeah, right? Right? Like, that's why I was having this conversation on a Twitter space last night. That's why I feel like my focus, where I want to put more of my focus and where our focuses in general are better spent on the under 35 crowd. I think that this revolution is a youth-led revolution, and that's where we need to start, because youngins, I'm 25, youngins like us are awake and woke to what the fuck is happening, and are a little more in our, like teenage angsty rebellion, like questioning authority phases still. Some of us never got out of them, and we're like, no, fuck you and your white supremacy based capitalism and imperialism. Like, I want healthcare, I want free housing, I want a livable, thriving wage. Like, fuck y'all. And because I'm a 19-year-old communist and conservative of Ireland. Greetings from across the pond, comrade. Yeah, well, what do you think? You're 19. You're a year older than my youngest sister, who I do not think is a leftist, who I would still consider very much. What would I consider her? I don't know what I would consider her, but not woke. Yeah, not seeing the need for the revolution. Yeah, not woke. Yeah. But and it's really hard. Then again, it's hard to have a conversation with her because my relationship is difficult with her. But like conversations with, again, like white privilege. Like trying to have a conversation with my dad about it, and saying like, okay, yes, like I understand you've worked hard for everything that you have. That white privilege is not discrediting that. White privilege is saying because of the inherited color of your skin, you receive innate privileges in the system designed to benefit you. That's what white privilege means. And I think we need to stop turning the guns on other leftists. Like, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? Like, other leftists. What do you mean? Like, ones who call themselves leftists, who really aren't leftists, who really are still AOC stands, or like the fact that like there's this divide between like the left of like anarchy and communism and eco-socialism and like all these different ideologies on the left. Thoughts? Let me hit my vape real quick. Like anarchists, yeah. So true. It's like I'm a green. I'm a member of the Green Party. Like the drama between the Green Party and DSA is ridiculous. Like, what the fuck, y'all? Like, are we not adults? Like, what? Like, and from that, like, I think it's because if we got more unity on that, like, it's from my knowledge of it is, like, well, DSA isn't like a political organization. It's more of like a social club. So like a lot of the divide there is that they are still proponents of the establishment. While some people in DSA are like, no, fuck this shit. We want a revolution. Like, we support democracy and a democratic society. But we want a revolution to get us that systemic change that will give us that democracy. So there's really big divide within DSA, and then drama between DSA and Greens. Then, like you pointed out, anarchists and Marxist-Leninists. Like, it's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous drama. I think we need to stop. And AOC stands are just as misguided. Totally think so. I think they mean well. Sure. I think they're just still a little brainwashed. I think it's still a little tweaking. I think they just still need a little more independent media in their lives. And a little more fact checking. A little more knowledge of following the money on open secrets. Educating yourself, taking responsibility. That's hard for people. But again, that is why I think this is why it should be a youth-led revolution, because I feel like the youth are more likely to take on that challenge and respond well to it. And what did you say? And even to an extent, Maoist. Is it Mao? Yeah, it's Mao. I don't know much about Mao. I really need to educate myself more about theory. Even Marxist-Leninists will attack anyone who even try to criticize them. The left is in tatters. Yeah, for sure. It really is. And right now I think it's like we need to kind of just like all center on the one common goal. It's like, do you want to dismantle and redesign the US empire? Yes or no? That's it. All unite under that one common cause. Because I think when you get down to the details, that's where you lose people. And it creates like a hostile environment instead of a safe space to create formative, what's the word I'm looking for? Formative, constructive conversations. So yeah, and that's the thing. Labels, what the fuck? Like, why are we sticking so true to our labels? Like, we're all fighting for liberation here. Like, let's all get on the same side. And I think our progressives need to be more Freedom Caucus, sort of holding Biden's agenda hostage until we get something. Yeah, if only our representatives would be doing something to hold Biden's agenda hostage and like get us some goddamn results. Because that's why I'm just like, there's no reforming. Like, these progressives in office are already co-opted. They are already now a part of the establishment. They are already taking corporate PAC money. They're done. We cannot trust them. They are not fighting for our interests. They are not on our side. That is why I think we need this organized armed protest for the revolution to say, y'all are dismissed. Yeah, now all kissing and licking Mama Bear's ass Holy shit. Yeah. The fact that AOC had the guts after her present vote on the Iron Dome to come out and say, Mama Bear, she did it because she got a call from Mama Bear. I'm like, do you realize that you really just showed how weak as fuck you are? How weak, how pathetic, how cowardice you are. You disgrace, like pathetic. And it really just spoke. And then, of course, with the timing of the tax the rich dress, the performance acts, the theatrics of it all, like it is just perfectly prominently on display. And how yeah, that I would love to come on my show and talk about that sometime. I would love to hear more about Israel and Jamal Bowman voting for funding the Iron Dome. Because Elliot Engel, I have heard that reference like for him a lot, but I do not know who that is. Yeah, I'm not sure who that is. But yeah, that all these progressives are already co-opted. We cannot count on them. They are part of the establishment now. So, we need to say bye-bye, thank you, and move right along. Elliot Engel was the guy in Bowman's seat before him. He's over the same district for the same district, and he's doing the same goddamn things. Wow. Well, that's so sad. So sad. So sad he's doing the exact same thing. So sad. But like, what else do y'all need to see to wake up and see nothing's changing? Nothing has fundamentally changed. Biden stayed true to that promise. Nothing will fundamentally change. So, like, I don't know. America is a puppet for Israel. And we are going to keep establishing that as our stronghold in the Middle East until we dismantle the U.S. regime. Palestinian people are going to genocide will continue to be committed against Palestinians if we do not overthrow this government. Like, did Ro Khanna vote for it? He pisses me off. He called us sexist for hating Liz Warren. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I got that. Yeah. I never supported. I won't say I never supported Liz Warren. I did initially support Liz Warren, but very quickly changed to Bernie. But yeah, I never supported Hillary. So like, yeah, I got the sexist shit for being a woman who did not support a woman and being called a sexist because of that. Yeah, because I wouldn't support Hillary Killam Clinton. And talking about Israel, Trump was Netanyahu's little bitch, and so was Biden during the last election. Stop being his bitch. Yep. Yeah. So I mean, because think about it, like the Iron Dome, like that's just a branch of U.S. imperialism. It's more for the military industrial complex. It's benefiting us. It's benefiting the weapons contractors and war contractors. This is all good business for them. And until we dismantle what the U.S. is built upon, which is white supremacy-based capitalism and imperialism within the patriarchy, or dominated by the patriarchy, nothing will fundamentally change. This is what, like you're saying, this is what we were built upon. This is what our founding fathers created. And who were our founding fathers, y'all? They were rich, property-owning white men. That's what they meant when all men are created equal. They didn't say persons, they said men. And what do they mean? They meant privileged, white, fully able-bodied men. That's what they meant. Because that wouldn't apply if you had a quote-unquote disability. But I'm sure there was wealthy people with disabilities that also benefited from this at the time. But Again, they, the disabilities, the stigma against disabilities back then was very different. But like, think about it, like there was a bunch of war amputees, like that was kind of changing. That's when when was it? I think it was the Civil War when morphine was invented. Like it changed. Imagine listening to white asshole loading slave Republican, the Constitution, right? Like, okay, let's talk about the Constitution. Who wrote the Constitution? Who was it intended for? Let's have that discussion. It's just to cite the founding fathers in the Constitution. It's like, okay, let's talk about what you're citing. White supremacy. That's what you're citing. That's what you're upholding. That's what you want. And but then again, they don't want to be called racist, so they completely deny it. But actions speak louder than words. So, and the Republicans that say Biden is yes, oh my God, I wish it was communism. I wish I would not be here preaching for the revolution if Biden was a communist. I'd be living my best life. We'd all be. Yeah, no, this is part of the ratchet effect of the Dems and the GOP of going back and forth saying like, one is bad, the others will help you. One is bad, the others will help you. To keep you in that binary duopoly state. And probably why they're going to lose in the midterms coming up. Dems are going to lose in the midterms. Because they have not, they're just blaming Republicans right now. Or the filibuster. And stuff like that. So no systemic change is coming. And during our fight for freedom against Britain, we just said, fuck it, and armed. Yes, thank you. Yes. Talk about the Irish Rebellion. Because, like, we need to learn from history. And, okay, so correct me if I'm wrong. But Ireland is now divided into, like, the Northern Republic and, like, a part that's still controlled by the UK. Is still part of the UK, right? I'm so bad. I'm so sorry. My geography is horrible. But, like, not all of Ireland is liberated from the UK. Why did y'all decide to only do divide it into Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland? So is Northern Ireland the one that is associated still with the UK? The UK still occupied the Northern Ireland. Got it. Okay, so that was the Irish solution, to divide the country and say, this is still under y'all's rule, and this is under the Republic. See, I like that. This is why I don't think that will work. Well, I don't know. Maybe it could work. I'm just spitballing here. I don't know, because the thing is, like, the climate crisis, like, this government setup that we have is specifically contributing to the climate crisis that we are enduring right now. And I don't know. I mean, if now we want the northern part back and they want to join us. Whoa, that's awesome. Whoa. If Ireland was doing that, that would really inspire the US to get a full-blown revolution going. See, I like that. See, eventually you want full liberation. Northern Ireland came around and they're like, yeah, let's go. That is awesome. That, I feel like, gives me joy about a worldwide proletariat revolution. That gives me joy. Thank you. You just made my day. We have to take a vote on it. We're not sure when, though. That's great. That's awesome. I don't know. I don't know if I see the U.S. working out as being split into the United States of America and the Republic of America. I don't see that working out well. I feel like hi Jasper. I feel like it needs to be a complete dismantle and upheaval and redo. Hi Jasper, this is Jasper. And redo the system. I think if we did divide, I think that may do more harm than good. That's what I think. That's what I think in the long run. I think it would do more harm than good. I think we need to like do our best to get all on board with a full-on dismantle of the American empire, and it'll be people's it'll be people's vote majority rules are upheld. That's awesome. So that sounds like a direct democracy. That's what I aspire the US to have. I truly believe that's our best way forward out of this. I think if we have a direct democracy, that's a true democracy and better than what we're having right now, and will help avoid a lot of the problems, prevent a lot of the problems that got us in this situation in the first place. We got to vote on whether or not we want gay marriage, whether or not we want an abortion, and we can have those votes. We can have those votes to change our constitution. So is the Republic of Ireland a direct democracy? Or do y'all have representatives? Because I'm trying to think of what our pre-revolution world looked like. Like, if we have representatives, is it just direct democracy to the people, no representatives? I don't know. Okay. I don't know. How do y'all feel that's working out for you with your representatives? I mean, I did hear Ireland just did something. Wasn't it like opening? Oh my God. Y'all just did something really big for climate. Like opening like a wind-powered island or something? Or was it the carbon plant? Y'all just did something big. So it seems to be going well. I can't remember exactly when it was. Some of our okay, that's great. Some of our representatives are really, really great. That's good. That's really awesome. Because that's what I would love to be in this new world. I would love to be a representative for my community. If we were to still have them. My fear is just that we'd be right back to square one, where we'd have, well, see, if we have representatives based on like the Green Party rules, where you like don't accept corporate PAC money and you have like a limit on the amount you can accept, like I think we could put in terms that could help prevent the corruption of public servants. I should say, fuck politicians, they are public servants. I think putting a lot of that into writing could prevent a lot of the corruption that has ensued. Force the vote on BDS if failed, but they still we have 8 parties. 8 parties? Whoa! That is crazy. Whoa. That's dope. That's dope. Yeah, we need more of that in here in the US. So yeah, the armed revolution. That's what I'm feeling. Cause like that's what I'm watching right now in my show Rebellion. Like they just armed up and took to the streets and said like, this is it. Like no more time under British rule. Like fuck that shit. I don't see us going out and assassinating leaders right away. I would like to give them the option best possible for a peaceful transition of power. And then the British took our freedom fighters in 1916 and executed them. Yeah. So that was after you became the Republic of Ireland. How did they do that? When did y'all become the Republic of Ireland? Yeah, I think freedom fighters. I love that. Freedom fighters. Yeah, that's what we need more of right now. Freedom fighters. That was right before, because our freedom fighters rose hell. It got very bloody at one point. Yeah. That's where I feel like I'm at in my series right now. the climactic point of the rebellion. And that's the thing. That's what historically is done during rebellions. The ruling regime tries to make an example of the rebels, by executing leaders. That's why it's really important for us all to be leaders in this movement, and for us to all find our strengths, and work on our weaknesses, and work with others to contribute and grow. And like the British sent a group called the Black and Tans, fighters from World War II to fight our rebels and to shut us the fuck up. Wow. Oh my God, I'm still watching my show Rebellion after this. I can't wait. So yeah, I think it's going to be an armed rebellion, and we need to just make it known, like, we're up for a fight. Like, we're not backing down. Like, we just need to be resilient and stay true. And because let's be clear, we're fighting the fight for humanity right now, for our planet, for survival. What do you have to lose? They already signed your death warrant. And it's going to be by the climate crisis if we don't take action now. So, I'm ready. Our government tried to tell us the Black and Tans weren't that bad. We got them to U-turn and to just keep quiet. What do you mean by that? Our government tried to tell us the Black and Tans weren't that bad. We got them to U-turn and to just keep quiet. Interesting. Here, wait, let me make sure. I want to make sure I still have my show going. Let's see. I hope I didn't finish Rebellion. I think I did finish Rebellion. Oh my God. I finished the 2 seasons. Bummer. Where was it? Rebellion. Yeah, I think I did finish it. The 2 seasons it had. Yeah. Yeah, I did. Highly recommend, though. They tried to commemorate the Black Tans. They were the group that murdered Irish people for fun, but our government were like, let's commemorate. Okay, well, that's basically what America does with the police, with law enforcement. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty fucking much. History repeating itself. Yep. People take to the streets saying defund the fucking police after George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor. Historical turnout and protests. What do we get? More funding for Capitol Police. More funding for the military. More funding for the Pentagon. Nothing. Oh, we got Juneteenth Day. Yep. Our voices were not heard. Our demands were not met. So, the U.S. government is mocking us. Trying to make a mockery of us, of working class people. And why do Americans try to bastardize Irish names? Like when our immigrants came to the U.S. because the British were starving as y'all chased. Yes. Okay. So this is near and dear to me. I am actually a descendant of Irish and Italian immigrants. I'm actually trying to be more conscious of being prideful in my Irish heritage, because I'm only a little bit. I'm only 20. My mom was 25%. So I'm 1/8. I'm 1/8 Irish. And for a while I only identified it as Italian, and I never acknowledged my Irish ancestry. And part of that was because actually my Nana, who I got my Irish ancestry from, she passed away the day before St. Patrick's Day. And it felt like a crude, rude, sick way of saying, like, you don't have an Irish heritage. Like, it died. So for a while, I kind of just like didn't acknowledge my Irish heritage, but like now I really embrace my Italian heritage and the fact that Southern Italians were routinely discriminated against during the immigration wave of the 19th century. And immigrating into through Ellis Island, being discriminated for the jobs that they were able to have, getting low pay jobs when they were able to find one, getting being called WAP, Guido, all those things, the beatings, so much so that my grandfather, my mom's dad, my papa, he was fully Italian. He felt so much discrimination that he felt pressured to change his last name when he enlisted in the Navy for World War II. His last name was Oliveri, which is how I got my first name, Olivia. And which is why I have an Oliveri tattoo right here. I was like, I want to show you, but I can't. So it was Oliveri, and when he enlisted in the Navy, he dropped the I to sound less Italian and went to Oliver and kept that name after the war, and is what my aunts and uncles and my mom even now uses now instead of Oliveri. Even though his brother I think his brother went on to be a lawyer and kept the last name Oliveri. So like some of my distant family still has that last name, but like we're the Oliver family in a way, because of the discrimination that Southern Italian immigrants faced during the beginning of the 20th century. Up until not even the beginning of the 20th century, up until post World War II, because that's when the Irish, the Italians, the Polish, the Germans, that's when we were all considered white. We were not considered white pre-World War II. We were the others. We were otherized before that point. But for some reason, it's because they were white. It's because they still had, same skin color. It was because of their skin color that enabled them to be uplifted into the status of white privilege after World War II. Whereas like, African Americans who had also enlisted, who had gave their lives, like they were denied the benefits that they were so rightfully due, because of the color of their skin, because of the racist connotations of our system of being built upon white supremacy. So yeah, there was like, a huge gap. That's where like the big wealth disparity, health disparity gap really begins to grow is post World War II, as you see like the middle class the white middle class forming, and the minority populations becoming more of the working class population. And then you see the direct results of that, which are health disparities, other health disparities, social inequalities, social injustices, disparities, and everything, transportation, infrastructure, birth rates, murder rates, everything. Okay, let's see. My friend's second name is Ginn, but his ancestors were Irish immigrants with the second name O'Guinness, but the Americans changed the second name when they got to Ellis Island. Yep, to try and assimilate. That's why. To assimilate. Yep. I'll be honest, I only found you on Twitter because of on Twitter, any friend of Trace. Oh, thank you. So sweet. Yes, Trey is very sweet, and that means a lot. So thank you for being here. That's very awesome. And I think I followed you. Let me make sure I followed you. Followed. You are followed. You are followed. Thank you. Oh, here's the protest. And I just got your thing. Here's the Irish protest. Wow. Okay. Okay, cool. Cool. Well, thank you for joining me. I'm hoping I'll build up my platform and have a few other people joining us on our next stream. But anything you'd like to mention any more about anything on your mind that you'd like to talk about? On our next ranting. There you go. We'll take off next time. That's fine. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you for coming in and tuning in from across the pond. Really greatly appreciate it. So glad we are connected now. I will probably be doing another live stream, honestly, later today. And I'm almost at 1,000 Twitter followers, so I'm going to do a Twitter space soon. Yay. So, and yeah, Trey said actually if I was going on at 12:30, he'd come on. So I might do another stream at 12:30 around them and have him on. So stay tuned. Thank you. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye, comrades.